Okay, Year 8, hopefully you've now had both your tests back and you're going to do some analysis of where you did well and where you need to do some additional work. So on the Google Sheets that you're going to open up, if you do have access to another device, I would recommend perhaps you have your test open on one device and then you're entering these results into another, otherwise perhaps split your screen. So when you open the Google Sheets, it should look like this. And in this box at the top here where it says name, in there you need to enter your name first of all. Okay, and then in the box next to form, in there you're going to enter your form, so I've just put 8. Okay, then we look here, so we're just looking initially at paper 1. And paper 1 had 15 questions altogether. Obviously some of them had more than one part, but there were 15 questions altogether. Question number 1 was in Unit 1. It was under the topic of factors and powers. So you need to look at question 1. It should be, for question 1 of the first paper, should be about products of primes. So you look at that question and you see how many marks were available in total. So if that question had several parts, so perhaps had 3 parts, part A, part B, part C, there would have been 3 marks available. If it was just 1 part, then there was 1 mark available. So you look at your question 1 and you fill in the number of marks. So let's say I got 1 mark on that one. Then I go to my question 2 and I see how many marks were available on there and how many I got. So let's say I got 2 marks in question 2. And then I go to question 3 and I see how many marks I got in question 3, and maybe that was another 1 mark. Okay, question 4 we can see is in the column working with powers from Unit 2. So I've just filled in some random numbers for the rest of the questions in paper 1. Then the next part of the table takes you to paper 2. So paper 2, question number 1 started on the topic of 2D shapes and 3D solids from Unit 3. So again, I filled in how many marks I got in each of those questions in paper 2. So paper 2 had a total of 11 questions altogether. What you'll find when you filled in all those scores, at the bottom here, there is a total row. So you can see the total for each of those units that you covered this year. So for me, in Unit 1, I got a total of 4 marks altogether. In Unit 2, I got a total of 10 marks altogether, and that goes across the rest of that row. You will automatically also find that it's given you a percentage for each of the units. So if we look, my Unit 2 there, I got 83% of the marks available on that unit. So I did quite well on my Unit 2. If I move across to Unit 10, you can see there on Unit 10, I only got 8%. So Unit 10 was my unit that I was not particularly strong at. Similarly with Unit 6, I would say that's perhaps an area I need to do some more work on my fractions, decimals and percentages work. So for me, my Unit 10 and my Unit 6 are probably my weaker ones, and my Unit 2 is my stronger unit. So when we've done that, we need to fill in down here. So the topics that I need to do some follow-up work on. So I said before that my Unit 6 that I got 29% and my Unit 10 that I got 8% were my weaker ones. So I might put in here Unit 10 and Unit 6. And then the topics that I did well on, so we talked about here, I did particularly well on my Unit 2, because on my Unit 2 I got 83%. So for here, the units I did well on, I'm going to put in this box, Unit 2. Okay, so now I know where my strengths and weaknesses are, I can start to fill in this table. So the table at the bottom here splits the questions up. So we can see, for example, I didn't do very well on my Unit 10. Paper 1 Unit 10 was question 15. 15a and b were on the topic y equals mx plus c, the gradient and the intercept. 15d was on inverse functions, and 15e was on straight line graphs, parallel and perpendicular. And from paper 2, it was mainly question 8 and also question 3 that were on the unit 10 topic. So that's where I lost most of my marks on unit 10. Maybe I was okay with 8d and 15d. Maybe I don't need to do the topic of inverse functions. So I've looked back at my paper and I did quite well on 8d and 15d. So I don't think I need to look at inverse functions, but I do need to look at parallel and perpendicular lines again, and I do also need to look at y equals mx plus c. I know my unit 2, I did quite well on that one. That was my one where I got a high percentage. So I don't need to look at any of those topics for unit 2. So up here in unit 2, I've put no next to those topics. Maybe I've also looked down and thought I was okay with reflections. So I don't need reflections. So I was quite good on 10A on paper 1. I got all my marks on that one. And maybe 10B to D, the rotations on paper 1. I was quite good on that, so I'm going to put no. But maybe I wasn't very good on my question 14 from paper 1. And also those parts from paper 2, questions 6, C and D, and question 11. So maybe I need to do some practice at that topic as well. So I'll fill in all that table with the topics that I need to work on. So I've identified here y equals mx plus c, the gradient, the intercept. Didn't get very many marks on 15a and b from paper 1, and 8c and e, and question 3 from paper 2. So I definitely need practice at that topic. So if I look at the table here, this tells me the video on Dr. Frost Maths I need to watch to refresh that topic, video 56, and then this tells me the worksheet that I then need to complete. So I then need to do y equals mx plus c, the gradient and intercept worksheet. Okay, so I'm looking for video 56 and I'm looking to complete that worksheet because that's one of the areas I highlighted on my sheet as needing some additional work. Okay, so once you've done that, we need to go into Dr. Frost Maths. So we're looking for video 56. So we go into Dr. Frost Maths, okay, and there'll be instructions how to log on to that. So when you're on Dr. Frost Maths, your front page will look something like that. And we need to go to video 56. So we click on resources at the top here, and that menu appears. You need to scroll down until you see where it says videos, and you click on that. Okay, and then if you look in the top right hand corner, it says quick access, being given the number of a video, enter it below. So we know the video was video number 56, so we type 56 into that box and click go. And that's where your video will appear that you can then play. So you can, underneath that video, you'll notice it says practice this skill. So you could do some practicing of some questions to do with that topic. You could also perhaps try just the topic test standard. I wouldn't recommend the topic test advanced, but you could have a go at the topic test standard, just to make sure that you're sure with what you're doing. So once you've watched the video and you're feeling fairly confident, you now need to do the worksheet. So the worksheet was, remember, on Unit 10, y equals mx plus c. So we go under questions and the menu appears. Scroll down there until it says school worksheets and click on that. And then you've got this menu that appears, and we want to go onto the shared area, so into the shared folder. Okay, and then that menu appears, and then you want to make sure you're doing the Year 8 end of year exam follow-up work, not the November follow-up work. Okay, so you want the folder Year 8 end of year exam follow-up work, so you click on that. And then for me it was Unit 10 I was struggling with, so I click on Unit 10. and then the name of the worksheet. So I didn't need the inverse functions, I was quite good on that. This one, y equals mx plus c, gradient and intercept, was the worksheet that was under that topic. And then I can fill that in, submitted my answers, and it will come up under your area in Dr. Frost Maths. Okay, so maybe you've done that one, so you'll go back to your sheets and you'll look at some other ones that you need to do some additional work on. We'll let you know how many tasks you need to complete. Okay, so keep a look on the stream for that. Now let's say you did quite well. Maybe there's some areas where you just made a careless error and you actually are feeling fairly confident. If that's the case, there are some additional bits here. So it says if you got close to 100% on the exam, you may want to try these tasks that weren't examined. So again, there's a video number. So percentages finding the original didn't come up. So maybe you think I'm going to do that one. So you'll type yes in that box, and you will need to watch video 132, perhaps to remind yourself. And then back on the Dr. Frost Maths, you'll go on to back to the questions, back to the school worksheets, okay, into the shared, and then the year 8 follow-up exam work, and then you're looking for the extension work, and then you've got that one, percentages finding the original, so you can have a go at those questions on there.